Man up, Harry Reid. You need to understand that we have a problem with Social Security. I'd like to know, we'd like to know, how did you become so wealthy on a government payroll?
That's really a kind of a low blow. I have been on a fixed income since I went to Washington.
Maybe a creative description of what a fixed income is from the one and the only Nevada Senate debate last night.
That's right, $193,000 fixed income. I wouldn't mind that. All right, top line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABC News Top Line. I'm Rick Klein.
And I'm Amy Walter.
Every day at noon Eastern, we're right here bringing you the latest in politics, everything you need to know. Twitter.com/Rick Klein, Twitter.com/Amy E. Walter. It was debate night in Washington and beyond, of course, in Nevada, where it really happened. But what was your first top
Yes,
line,
well, remember yesterday, this man right here talked about unadulterated awesomeness. Well, we're going to start our first top line with Man Up here. I don't know about the unadulterated awesomeness of it, but we do know that the Reid-Engel debate is in the books. But a lot of us wondering, what was Harry Reid thinking? He clearly needed, or was maybe hoping, for Engel to give a game changer here, stumble somewhat, or make some sort of statement. But in the end, it was Harry Reid who got the most criticism because he just came and he looked completely unprepared. This did not look like the majority leader of the United States Senate.
It actually looked like the majority leader of the United States Senate. He looked like Harry Reid on the floor of the Senate. My friend, my colleague, that sort of thing. Sharon Engel came with some zingers that she was there to deliver. Man Up, probably the highlight of the debate. But we didn't see a clear strategy from Harry Reid. No. And I don't think, did he do himself much damage? Probably not. But he has not pulled away in a race that a lot of folks thought it might happen after Sharon Engel won the Republican nomination. Next up, backfiring. The White House and the DNC, their guns are blazing at those outside interest groups, and guess what? They love the incoming fire. Karl Rove's groups have reported some $13 million in the last week since these ads have been criticized as heavily as they have from the White House. And add to that now, Glenn Beck is personally writing checks to the Chamber of Commerce, and I've heard he has a viewer and a listener or two who may do the same.
I mean, they apparently know how to use the internet to raise money. Interesting also to note that the Wall Street Journal reporting today that now the White House saying they are no longer looking for a CEO to replace Larry Summers. I guess those resumes coming from the Chamber of Commerce just sort of finished. All right. Next up, stop asking. All right, President Obama still promising to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but his Department of Justice is still going to fight it in court. For a guy who really needs to be getting that base fired up, this is not the kind of thing you want to be talking about a couple weeks before the election.
No, and it's confusing to say the least, to go out there at this forum and say, don't worry, it's going to be off the books, but by the way, my Justice Department is still fighting it, and you're going to be fighting it out every step of the way. We understand the legal arguments behind it, but it is an uncomfortable situation to be while you're trying to fire up this base to try to explain how it's going in both directions. And finally today, from the grave, a new entry in perhaps the strangest advertisement of this political year. This is Lisa Murkowski touting an endorsement that she was not quite able to do in as straightforward a way as she wanted originally. Take a look at this ad.
What some Alaskans don't know is that my father made a campaign commercial for Lisa that was scheduled to run just days after we lost him.
I trust Lisa and her commitment to keep fighting for us.
Of course, Ted Stevens is no longer alive, and his image is now being used in this ad for Lisa Murkowski's write-in campaign.
He is now the most popular in both Republican and Democratic ads. Scott McAdams using his infamous Hulk tie, Ted Stevens' infamous Hulk tie, in his own ad to say, "I'm going to follow the lead of Ted Stevens." Remember that Ted Stevens wasn't always this popular?
Maybe a little bit less so. Ted Stevens 2, Barack Obama 0, at least in that race. We're joined today by Steve Lombardo, Republican strategist. And Steve, I want to start with the debate last night because so many people were watching it. Did you see? We always look for game changers and all that, but Harry Reid, I think, had an opportunity here. Did he take advantage of it?
He didn't. And, you know, part of his problem is the fact that he wasn't able to get sort of a knockout blow. And in a lot of respects, all Sharon Engel had to do was show up and demonstrate that she's acceptable.
A lower bar to clear, clearly.
Absolutely. And, you know, she's been attacked left and right, mostly from the left. But her problem has to be, hey, is she somebody who can step into these shoes? Can she represent the state? I think she demonstrated that last night.
All right, let's talk about some predictions that you've been making. A couple weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago, was this, that you said Republicans now on their way to picking up 60 to 70 seats in the House.
All right, well,
talk a little bit about that.
And it's a very difficult environment for Democrats, to be honest with you. And I think in any election year that looks like this, where the president's approval rating is as low as it is, where approval of Congress is as low as it is, I think any party that is in power is going to have trouble. The way we look at it right now is that this is at least as bad as it was in 1994. My guess is it's worse.
But we did see today, Glenn Bolger, one of your colleagues on the Republican side, Stan Greenberg, a Democrat, coming out with a poll they did for NPR today, looked at about 86 competitive districts. They saw some tightening going on there, some Democrats coming home. The other interesting thing that I thought that came out of that poll was the fact that independents now were split evenly in those districts, suggesting that maybe Democrats are doing a little bit better than they were not that long ago.
Right. Well, the problem is a little bit better is not going to be enough. I still think that we're looking at a 60-seat loss, net loss for Democrats. The reason is even some of those independents are not going to be voting as much as they should. The likely voter, the enthusiasm gap, is still with Republicans by a significant margin.
Now, the Democrats are certain that they're going to get traction out of this campaign against the advertisements, talking about the foreign influence in these elections. We've seen now maybe a backlash, money flowing more into that. Do you see any evidence of that? Is this something, and voters, they may not like secret money. Is this something that ever registers?
You know, every campaign that is sort of losing the narrative, if you will, of the election starts to venture into a lot of different things that aren't important or resonate with voters. This is just another example. And to be honest with you, the McCain campaign had the same problem in 2008, where they started talking about heirs and a lot of other things that were tangential at best with voters.
So is there a strategy to this? Is there a reason they're using this issue, or you think they're just trying anything?
They're trying anything. They're trying to find something that sticks right now, and they're grasping about sort of blindly. And I think they're going to have, this is the reason why Republicans are winning in the polls. It's not about the economy, jobs. It's all people care about right now.
Briefly, we talked House landscape, Senate landscape. Is there really a chance for Republicans to take over the Senate?
I think there is. Here's what we don't know. We just don't know how big this sort of incumbent, anti-democratic policy, Tea Party movement, if you will, is. We've only seen it play out in primaries so far. We don't know what will happen in a general. Is it likely that the Republicans win? Probably not. Is there a chance? Absolutely.
They'd have to run the table, as you know. It is a very difficult thing to pull off, particularly the House landscape, just so much easier. Steve Lombardo, Republican strategist, really appreciate you being here.
Glad
Thanks.
to be here.
We'll have to check out your predictions and hold you to them. We like accountability.
We do like accountability here.